What's up, everybody? This is Johnny Basement, and we're back here in the basement for AFL Footy Finals between the Port Adelaide Power and the Hawthorn Hawks. Before we get into this amazing, exciting, thrilling game, subscribe, drop your comments down below, hit the like button, and let's get into it. James Sicily has to be beside himself right now. Oh, wow, he could have sent the Hawks. At least they would have been up with a minute to go, give or take. Oh, he hit that post. Oh, he hit that post. Oh, when he hit that post, the Hawks had a couple of chances after that, but it was just a scramble fest after that. Man, did he hit that post. Oh, my gosh, it looked good. It looked good. We have plenty of those type of endings over here, too. Famous one was Buffalo Bills losing to the New York Giants in the 1990-91 season, Super Bowl. He missed the game-winning field goal. No time on the clock. Missed the game-winning field goal. It happens. We've had guys over here that Ernest Biner, Cleveland Browns versus Denver Broncos, ran in for a touchdown, the game-winning touchdown to go to the Super Bowl. He was in the end zone, but he forgot the ball. The ball fumbled on the goal line, and the Broncos picked it up, and they went to the Super Bowl. There has been devastating losses in sports forever, and that's why they play the game. That's why they play the game. Every player knows they can be that guy. You want to be this guy, the hero, but you risk being... he's got to be beside himself. He really does. And he has nothing to be ashamed of, man. These are pressure moments. Pressure moments brings pressure time. Some players can get it through, some players can't. And I'm not even saying that about Sicily. It's just pressure moments bring a lot different than if that was the start of the game. Now, speaking of the start of the game, the Power came in after an embarrassing loss of 84 points the week before, getting shellacked at home. They came out today and said, we're going to take care of business and we are going to fix that. What an aggressive, amazing first quarter by the Port Adelaide Power. They let the Hawks know we are here and we are here to fight. We are here today, and it is not going to be what we did against the Cats last week, where they just completely quit in the second half. Not today. They came out strong, aggressive. They didn't even let the Hawks set up. They didn't even let the Hawks set up with the Hawks trying to spread the field out. Hand pass back, go across the field, that kind of stuff that they like to do. From me watching them, I can tell that's what they like to do. Slow things down, let's get this under control. No. Power was swarming on the defense. They would start doing those hand passes, and there was a guy crashing on them right away. Like, no, we're breaking that up. That's not happening. It caused the Hawks to what I call and what we call over here, and I compare footy a lot to hockey. Two completely different sports, but a lot of the same concepts. Chasing the game is one of them. When the other team is controlling the ball or controlling the puck in hockey, the other team ends up chasing the game. They chase the other players around, and now we're trying to get them not to score. They circle in the wagons. They're protecting their net, protecting their goal kind of thing, and making sure the score doesn't get too out of hand before we can start getting our brains around what's going on. The Hawks were completely taken out of their game plan in that first quarter. It was obvious and apparent. They held the fort down. Luckily, we're only down 15-2. They had a couple of rush behinds throughout the game. I think they had like 5 or 6 rush behinds throughout the game, which adds up. I always say behinds, everybody gets upset when people get them, but the 6 points is really where it's at. I understand that, but look at these rush behinds, 5 or 6, that's a goal. It's pretty much a goal. It's another goal. The Hawks held the fort down, but there was a swarm, especially in the name of Willie Rioli. That kid is all over the place, and he comes from a family. I did a piece on Cyril Rioli like a year or two ago. It was incredible. This kid he was all over this place. Johnny on the spot is what we call it. He was over here. He had 2 goals in the game. Jones had 2 goals in the game, and Mitch had 3 goals in the game. The Power were here to play. They were still in all, they were letting the Hawks hang around. You want to put a team away, you cannot let the other team just hang around. Hanging around means mistakes can happen. Hanging around means just one little turnover turns into James Sicily at the end of the game, where he could have ended a tremendous game plan and strategy by the Power because you let a team hang around. You got to put them away. You have to put that team away. The Hawks fought hard. Shout out to Watson. That kid was, speaking of Johnny on the spot, that kid in the third quarter opened up with 2 quick goals and brought the Hawks back. Every time the Hawks came back, the Power would not let them go. Even though the game was close and Sicily could have won it, basically what I'm trying to say is the Hawks had it enough in them. They had enough fight and flair and ferocity in them to keep tying the score, keep coming within a couple points, keep playing catch-up, and that's the problem. The Hawks were playing catch-up all game. The only quarter they lost was the first quarter. They won the second, won the third, won the fourth, but that first quarter killed them. Yes, you have time to go through the rest of the game and time to make up for the rest of the game what you did in the first quarter, but you are constantly catching up, and every time you caught up, the Power drove it right back down your throats with 2 more goals at a time. They took an 18-point lead at one point. The Power took an 18-point lead. I think it was 69-51, going off the top of my head. Hawks came right back, 69-64. The Hawks, coming from where they were last year to this year, they have to find a way to keep that momentum going. They had the momentum at times. They got to learn how to keep it going. At times it seemed like there was Vaseline on the ball. They could not, it's like they were just overexcited. And they're running, they're trying to get that ball, and they're trying to get that ball, and the Power players are right there. And even when they had to have a hand pass clean to somebody that's open, he wasn't holding it. That happened more times than not when I watched this game, and I just finished watching the recording of it. This was one of the greatest games I have seen in a long time. Amazing. But the Hawks could never seem to get over that top. Now, a question for you guys. There was a lot of stoppages on tackles. I haven't seen that many stoppages on tackles the way they were calling these things. Like, were guys getting slingshot or whipped around too hard? I've never seen. So I see it in football a lot, but I've never seen in one span of time. There was moments where the clock kept stopping because a guy was he tackled too hard. They would take him and it looked like they were power slamming him. Is that a penalty? Because I've seen the move before in footy for the 2 years that I've been watching this. But I've never seen so many calls. And the Power got a lot of calls. And the Hawks got some calls, too, for slamming guys around. And I was surprised. I was like, they stopped this many stoppages for that? Seemed like this game here, it seemed like the umpires were blowing their whistles a whole lot more than I'm used to watching anyway for the 2 years. And it's against both teams to me. It was against both teams. I just found it very hard to believe that this is what was going on. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stoppages. NFL has way too many stoppages. Way too many. But I wasn't expecting that in this game. And there was a ton of them. And I'm like, are these guys getting tackled too hard? What's with all the stoppages? Anyway, the Power are going to move on and play a Swans team when before the Geelong loss last week, and bad loss, they came in on a 6-game winning streak into these finals. And one of those was a tremendous smashing of the number 1 Swans, who just lost to the Giants. You think they need some bounce back? That should be an interesting game. The Power showed resilience today. They showed resilience today. The Hawks showed, wow, what is in store for the future with the Hawks? The Hawks, and I wrote some things down about this team, but most of it I remember off the top of my head, but I will refer to a couple of things in a second in my notebook, which you guys know I take a lot of them. The Hawks started the season 0-5. At the end of round 5, they were 17th on the ladder. 17th! Went on a 14-4 streak after that. Now check some of this stuff out. This is crazy. Watch out for the Hawks. And way back, and Tony, you guys have been these are 2 Aussies that have been tremendous for me. Amongst many others, guys. Amongst many others. I've named them all in here before. But for the Hawks fans that have helped me out here with the Hawks, Tony and way back last year in 2023 said, watch out for this team in 2024. Boom, they were right. From round 6 on, these numbers are from round 6 on when they started round 6, 0-5. The Hawks have had the most points and gave up the fewest in the entire league from round 6 on. They've won more games than any other team from round 6 on. 9 of those wins were by 6 goals or more. Watch out for the Hawks in 2025. They have got some tremendous players. They've got heart. They've got soul. They fought a number 2 on the ladder team today in the Power and brought it strong. And they could have won. They could have won. Again, you can't let teams hang around, Power, but you won. You found a way and you got it done. And even after Sicily missed, the Hawks had opportunities, but the Powers just wouldn't let them. They swarmed on them, they crashed on them, they crushed on them, and they made sure no one got a clean kickoff after that. Sicily is amongst many people in sports that had that moment. Another was, I'll leave it with this, but another was Bill Buckner of the Boston Red Sox. All he had to do, a ground ball was hit to him in the World Series in 1986. All he had to do was pick the ball up and step on first base, and the Red Sox would have won their first World Series from the early 1900s, and it went through his legs. And he was one of the greatest first basemen in the entire game at that time. It went through his legs. The New York Mets won that game, and it forced a final Game 7. There has been players that it's just awful. Just awful. And sadly, even worse, they're remembered for things like this. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it happens. Guys, this was one of the greatest games I have seen in a long time. We got Brisbane and GWS coming up in the next game. The winner of that is going to go on and play the Geelong Cats. This is getting exciting. Hawks fans, nothing to hang your head about. What a tremendous year in the Power. You guys came back and showed that last week was just a fluke. Blowout loss at home, came back and showed the real team, the real aggression today. I'm Johnny Baseman. Please subscribe, hit the bell notice and the like button. Drop your comments down below, and I'll see you on the next video, which will be tomorrow on the Lions game. Thanks a lot, guys, and I am out.